This is me, Sword Fighter. Me, Sword Fighter, is definitely one of those characters I would class as being underrated. And I know very well we are talking about the Smash community here, and the word underrated is thrown around more than by Nair, but I promise this isn't like that. When I say underrated, I mean that I think the tools that Me, Sword Fighter has access to are greatly undervalued by the larger community. He's pretty much the Smash equivalent of turning up to the table with a really nice dessert, but nobody cares because everybody is already full. In fact, I think this opinion stretches to cover the wider Me cast as a whole. These are some really solid characters that I don't think get enough love amongst Ultimate's roster. They're well-rounded except for Me Brawler, technical except for Me Sword Fighter, and fun except for Me Gunner. But let's just stick to Me Sword Fighter for now, as I tell you why I think he's one of the most underrated characters in the entirety of Ultimate. Let's talk a bit more about that dessert I mentioned at the beginning. One thing I really appreciate about this game is that the Miis continued over their ability to customize their moves from Smash 4. Knowing the Smash team and how inconsistent they are when it comes to detail, they very well could have just chosen 4 of the special moves and folded them into a default moveset, but they didn't, and that's pretty cool. In terms of what are the best moves for the Miis to use, the general rule I've found is that if it's a move cloned from a pre-existing character, it's probably going to be their best option. Unless it's Neutral B, because for some reason all of the original moves the Miis have for their Neutral Bs are just cracked. Shot Put, cracked. Gale Strike, cracked. This little grenade thing I forgot the name of, pretty cracked. Again, all moves undervalued in the Smash community just because they don't come from generic anime RPG number 52. But in my research to find out what Me Sword Fighter's definitive best moveset is, I had some conflicting results. If you take a look at Me Sword Fighter footage from quite early on in Ultimate's life, you'll often find some combination of Gale Strike, Chakram, Hero Spin, and Reversal Slash being run. But comparing that to modern day footage, I've found moves like Shuriken of Light, Gale Stab, Skyward Slash Dash, and Power Thrust to be more common. It seems the Me Sword Fighter move and mindset has definitely evolved along with Ultimate, changing depending on what characters are being considered meta threats, and also what new characters are being added. Yet despite all of these changes, it's still very common to see moves like Chakram and Gale Strike being run today. But through all of my footage combing, research, and playtesting, I came to the conclusion that there is no definitive best Me Sword Fighter moveset. All of these moves and their synergies are so diverse that I don't think they can be slapped under the label of only play this way. Do you want to play as a zoner? Well, you've got 3 amazing projectiles to choose from, and you can run 2 at the same time. But what if you want more ledge options? Well, why not run a burst movement? In fact, why not run 2? Do you want a good recovery? Do you want safe kill confirms? Whatever you want to choose, you can do it. Now, does this apply to the Miis at large? Kind of. Certainly doesn't apply to Me Gunner. But the fact that you can choose with Me Sword Fighter to play as more of a zoner, or an upwards kill confirmer, or as someone with just some really strong neutral tools, makes me really wonder, damn, why don't people play this guy more? Actually, we should probably talk about that. So I guess something I should have mentioned a while ago is that whenever something is deemed underrated, there's normally a pretty good reason why it's been overlooked by the masses to begin with. And in the case of Me Sword Fighter, as much as he's got going for him, he's also got quite a lot going against him. Let's start off by talking about the biggest reason why Me Sword Fighter is underplayed. There are just simply better options. Unfortunately, that's a lot of what it comes down to for Me Sword Fighter. There are simply some better characters out there with better moves and better physics. Now despite that, I still think it's perfectly possible for something to be underrated whilst still being outclassed. The two terms aren't exactly mutually exclusive, and in the case of Me Sword Fighter, I think he's generally both underrated and outclassed at the same time. Now for a visual explanation of this, let's turn to matchup charts, because boy, we have a lot to talk about here. To break this down in the simplest way I could, Me Sword Fighter seems to have relatively poor matchups against most characters. He loses to rushdown characters, better zoners, swordies with longer swords, anti-zoners, top tiers, low tiers, shotos, you name it. This is all because Me Sword Fighter is designed to be a sort of jack of all trades, master of none kind of a sword fighter, which has its own problems. In fighting games specifically, I've found it's quite hard to design jack of all trades characters to be good, as they either excel in absolutely everything or underperform in absolutely everything. Characters who fall into a specific archetype generally have fantastic moves in said archetype, you know, go figure. But if you don't fall into any archetype or you don't belong to any particular camp, you're not really going to excel in anything. And in Smash, that just doesn't quite cut it. He has some really good zoning tools, but dedicated zoners have better ones. He has a sword, sure, but dedicated sword fighters have longer ones and faster ones. He doesn't really have too many combos, his frame data isn't quite good enough, and on top of all of that, his physics are just downright bad. But to tag back to previous conversations, this is more of an issue for the Miis as a whole, as since you are meant to design them how you want to, all of their stats kind of have to just be average in everything, but average in Smash Brothers is underperforming. Now, in order to not contradict myself, as I said previously, I think Mii Sword Fighter's moves are really good, both his normals and his specials, but I just don't think they really blend together as well as they could, and the thing holding them back is his overall design philosophy. Put any of these tools on a character with the physics to get the job done, and he'd be a meta threat in no time. Now, whilst I was left nearing the end of this script for this video, I was starting to wonder, is there really any hope for Mii Sword Fighter in the future? Ultimate balance patches have been long concluded, so nothing is going to change anytime soon, surely. But then I remembered that there's always hope, for every character in Smash. The better players get, the better characters get along with them, and I personally believe there is an absolute goldmine of untapped techniques and characters in this game that we still have not really explored to the fullest. A good example of this is Corrin, who just last year turned up to be pretty good actually. Now, I'm not saying Mii Sword Fighter has exactly Corrin levels of tech to him, but I am saying that exploration leads to discovery, and if more people were to pick up Mii Sword Fighter, I think more things would be discovered and his weaknesses could be more understood. Is Mii Sword Fighter a bad character? Maybe. Is he still underrated though? Yes, definitely. As I said previously, I think something can be both underrated and outclassed at the same time. The tools that Mii Sword Fighter has access to are not appreciated as much as they should be, whilst the rest of his physics and kit are, well, quite rightfully hated. I believe there's hope for the future of Mii Sword Fighter mains and players, but whether that comes in Ultimate's life or not is to be determined. A new Switch is on the way, a new Smash is on the way. That is inevitable. With or without Sakurai, Nintendo will be making another Smash Brothers. And I'm hopefully 100% confident the Miis will return, and if they do decide to allow the Miis to keep their really cool custom moves, I would like to see their normals and neutral moves improved as well. Although, if I'm honest with you, I would like to see a whole new approach to designing characters in the future Smash game. There are some characters in Ultimate that have been terrible since Brawl, and if another Smash game comes out, that's gotta change. So hopefully Mii Sword Fighter will be swept up on the good side amongst the ranks. Thank you very much everyone for watching. If you did enjoy this video, do leave a like and leave a comment down below telling me why. I'm expecting about 4 people to watch this video because it's not TF2 related, so I really am grateful for your engagement. And a further thank you to all of my Patreons and YouTube members. And an extra special thank you going to Skylar, Sukos and Hatsune Miku. Alright, I'm gonna go boil the kettle. I'll see you later.